Hello, today I would like to talk to you about environmental social work and why issues related to the environment should matter to social workers. So, today I would like to explore different objectives or questions with you, including should social workers be involved in environmental issues? What are the key ecological issues facing society? Why is this a social justice issue? What is the impact on vulnerable or marginalized communities? And what can social workers do about it? So, let me provide you different definitions that are relevant to this topic. So, let's distinguish between environmental, ecological, and green. So environmental includes both the natural environment and built environment. So in social work, again, it does not only include the natural environment, but also the ability to access different public places in just the built environment in general. And I'm going to be providing examples later on, but for example, the built environment. Are there grocery stores available in neighborhoods that provide healthy foods for families? Ecological, we have heard from Bronfenbrenner's ecological theory, and it focuses on the relationship between living organisms in an ecosystem. So again, if you remember Bronfenbrenner's ecological systems theory, it involves the relationship between different organisms or different systems that have an impact on the individual. Green has the association with taking action with an ecological problem. For example, if a community is facing water pollution or air pollution, what are we doing about it? What are we doing to change the problem in that community? So we might ask ourselves, what does all this have to do with social work? We are familiar with the ecological systems theory and the person and environment perspective that we have talked about in previous weeks. We often forget how the person is part of the actual natural environment. So we often think about how the person is impacted again by other relationships, by other systems, including employment, politics, religion, education. But we forget that the person is also part of the larger natural environment, and their well being is impacted by the natural environment. Um, and it plays again a substantial role in our health and well being. And it is also highly connected to our social work values. The NASW Code of Ethics, specifically the social justice value, encourage us to think about different social justice issues and again to promote social justice and advocate for social justice. And we are also encouraged to think about through the lens of dignity and worth of a person, and how, again, social justice and dignity and worth of a person are connected. So, again, let's think about a social justice perspective through those lens. And finally, the environmental problems intersect with all social work issues. So again, individuals that we already work with are impacted by these environmental issues. The people that we serve, including the homeless, refugees, there is a variety of populations you might serve who have been or will be impacted by an environmental issue. So we need to have this awareness to help us integrate this knowledge and skill base into our practice, even if we are not working in an environmental role directly. So this definition comes directly from the EPA. Environmental justice is the fair treatment and meaningful involvement of all people, regardless of race, color, national origin, or income, with respect of the development of implementation and enforcement of environmental laws and regulations and policies. Again, keep in mind that includes environmental issues impacting communities that are already disproportionately impacted by other issues. And we also need to think about how are we involving everyone, including individuals being impacted by these issues, to come up with solutions. So again, so what are some of the issues as a result of, again, what are some of the environmental issues as a result of environmental injustices? So one of them is climate change is one of the biggest issues facing um, are the individuals that we serve, or and this is the biggest global health threat. It includes, for example, some of the results include um, like more extreme weather that impacts those who have already limited resources, including wildfires and hurricanes. Another issue is food deserts. It is an issue related to, again, the built environment, particularly in low income neighborhoods of color that don't have access to inexpensive, healthy foods. Um, they might only have the option, such as McDonald's or a gas station. So there's a gap in healthy food and affordable food options, which has major health implications for low income populations living in low income neighborhoods. Another one is toxic waste illegally dumped and its implication on health. Pollution will cause a lot of problems that will also impact our health. And also another big one is the lack of green spaces in different communities. Okay, so what are the impacts? Again, all of these environmental issues have an repercussion, implications, or impacts our health and overall well-being, including health problems such as diabetes, heart-related illnesses, malnutrition, respiratory illnesses, and also it has a big impact on our mental health. So again, who is impacted? Again, the communities that are already the most disadvantaged, the most vulnerable, or marginalized are disproportionately impacted and have a harder time recovering from environmental problems. And some of these examples include indigenous communities, um, climate forced migrants, older adults, children and families, animals, and individuals living in low income. I'm sorry, there's an error there, individuals living in low income neighborhoods. Okay, so what are some solutions? So again, we can um, do community organizing and include those who are affected by the problem and developing the solution. So developing those partnerships, collaborations, and empowering communities. Um, we can do advocacy, advocate, again, helping empower individual clients. We can also go to a rally that is specifically related to an environmental issue. We can call our legislators. At the policy level, we can vote on the issues. And as social workers, we are at a place that we can inform policy as policy is being developed. Or those of you who are interested in the future and pursuing a PhD, you can also do so by researching how these environmental problems are affecting communities and also serving as a professor and teaching about these issues. I hope this was informative.